Well, good day and welcome once again to Moments with Dr. Steve. I'm Dr. Steve Bonenberger, and we have built a really solid model for presentation. Many of you will reply and say, how does a writer, how does a creator, how does someone who builds things, how do we present them? And so we have given you a model. On Mondays, we do biblical wisdom here. On Tuesdays, we push through the Writer's Covenant, which is the section we'll do today. On Wednesdays, we work through the Way Out, which is my opus magnus on human healing, and or the Genius Path, which is my opus magnus on human reinvention. Thursdays, we push through Gates of Fire, which is my first novel series that I built and created. And then on Fridays, we work through Akeldima the Saga, which is my great summit of my creative work and life and effort. Now, we do this as model and also as inspiration and also as instruction, because we believe that you can learn from what we do. And we're always learning on our side. We don't ever wish to imply or infer or leave this, check mark beside you that we've figured everything out. No, 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 no. We're always learning and improving and testing and, probing into the darkness a little bit just to see if we can find some new sources of light. So we want you to know that. Now, on this day, we're going to plow into the Writer's Covenant, which is the great work that I built for preachers and writers and poets and lyricists and filmmakers, anyone that is a creative that needs help. This is a resource guide. This is a model. This is if you know anything about the books that teach you how to build craft. Stephen King comes to mind. He built one of these. This is how I build craft. And you can learn from it. So go to stalegius.org for a small contribution. We'll get you a copy, and then you can use this to be able to move yourself forward. Our structure, our formula is that we have been building material, at least I have, for over 40 years. And so I have this kind of literary architecture and archive and catalog and library of my adult work that we bring to you so that you can benefit from it. And today we plow into the Writer's Covenant. Now, we believe that writers and creatives are champions. We begin our thoughts today by remembering that writing and reflection and personal archiving and deliberate consideration and the decision to personally interact with our life in an intelligent and responsive way, that is what is the foundation of all human creativity. If you think back to the earliest of human beings, we scratched, our ancestors did, on the backs of walls. We painted with rude and crude instruments and colors and dyes that were made from animal blood and animal feces. Yes, that happened. It is a true and factual statement that every single life wants to be and deserves to be archived and reflected upon and processed and properly understood and captured. I'm going to say that again. It is a true and factual piece of material that every single life desires to be archived and reflected upon and processed and properly understood and respected and captured. That is why writing is your calling. Writing and reflection are your personal summons on this day. Writing can and often does take the form of carpentry work or mechanical work or architectural work or linguistic work or lyrical work or musical composition work or pottery and artisan work or construction work or pattern building and sewing and fashion work and computer code writing, construction work, large scale, small scale, planning work, reading comprehension work. On and on the list goes. Take time and study the list, and then remember, it's far from exhaustive. This is one man's look. The one item that you'll find common and binding is writing. Each of these creative archives and activities and their cousins, that we haven't mentioned because we haven't thought of them on our own require humans to sit and ponder, doodle and noodle and sketch and think and attempt and reconsider and reprocess, reform and redo and continue the process again. That's power. Humans are designed to build and construct value. Value begins with paper and pencil, or charcoal and concrete, or sticks or sand, and computers and CAD programs. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have a piece of chalk in your hand or if you have a word processor in your hand. It doesn't matter. Humans are designed to build and construct. Einstein once said, and he is one of my life heroes. I have read as much of his work as I could get my hands on in my earlier days. Not saying I understood or comprehended, but I loved the brilliance of that man and still do. Einstein once said the most important work that a human can do is thought construct. He said everything else comes secondary and afterwards. Take time on this day. Reflect upon your days. Your internal compass heading pointer sent you to us. Think of that. Your internal compass heading found us and pointed you to us to listen. Now use your time wisely. We are building a global cultural conversation. Head over to stallegis.org, drop us a note, and tell us of your internal hunches and guesses in your creative process. Till next time, I am Dr. Steve Bonenberger, and this is Moments with Dr. Steve. Travel far.